All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, oil prices dropped more than 10% this morning after Iran announced the Strait of Hormuz is back open to commercial vessels. President Trump welcomes the news, but said that the U.S. blockade is still in place until an agreement with Iran is struck. Natalie Brand has the latest.
Iran announced Friday that the Strait of Hormuz is open to all commercial ships now that there's a ceasefire in Lebanon and will remain open for the duration of the 10-day truce there. On social media, President Trump hailed the announcement but said the U.S. military blockade on Iranian ports will remain in full force until a U.S.-Iran deal is reached. On Thursday, he said the next round of negotiations could take place as soon as this weekend.
The war in Iran is going along swimmingly. We can do whatever we want. And it should be ending pretty soon.
The president made the comments last night in Las Vegas, where he attended a roundtable promoting his no tax on tips policy.
Everybody is looking at their tax return. They're getting tremendous amounts of money back, much more than they thought.
The president heads to Phoenix today, where he will continue to promote his economic agenda months ahead of the midterms. But voters, even his supporters, are expressing their concerns about high gas prices as a result of the war.
Yeah, we save a little bit of money on taxes, but we're paying so much more for groceries and for gas and for everything.
Prices are all up everywhere. Gas prices are astronomical.
The Trump administration argues gas prices will go down this summer if negotiations with Iran go well. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has warned gas stations that his department will be watching to make sure prices are honest. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
In another social media post Friday, President Donald Trump said that Iran, with the help of the U.S., has removed or is in the process of removing all the mines from the Strait of Hormuz. Well, a resolution in the U.S. House to rein in President Trump's ability to attack Iran without congressional approval failed yesterday on a slim 213 to 214 vote. A similar measure also failed again this week in the Senate. As the war continues to push those gas prices up, though, here's what you can expect going into the weekend. If you're filling up today, the average prices in Rogers sit at $3.63. In Fort Smith, it's around $3.47. And Clarksville is seeing an average of $3.55. Well, the war in Iran could hinder travel plans this summer and lead to higher prices for flyers. Due to the stalemate in the Strait of Hormuz, jet fuel supplies are down, and some airlines are making adjustments. Jet fuel prices have rocketed upward since military action against Iran began. The International Energy Agency says that Europe has roughly 6 weeks of jet fuel on hand. And officials say if oil supplies remain stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, some planes could be grounded. The ripple effect could also produce other travel-related problems.
Routes that are going between, two cities that aren't necessarily hubs. You might have to go around, get inconvenienced. You might have fewer nonstop flights and more delays as well.
Analysts say it may be a while before things return to normal. Well, the Arkansas Supreme Court has denied an appeal from Zach Hawley. He's the Benton County man facing the death penalty for the murder of 6-year-old Jersey Bridgman. The court upheld the Benton County Circuit Court's denial of post-conviction relief. Hawley has been trying to overturn his conviction for more than a decade. During this appeal, his attorney argued 2 facts were never presented during the original trial that would have changed the outcome. The Supreme Court disagreed and denied the Rule 37 appeal.
What Rule 37 does is look back and determine did counsel act in such a way that would have created insufficiency in presenting their particular case.
Benton County Prosecutor Brian Sexton told us the appeal will likely move to the federal level. Meanwhile, the Benton County Sheriff's Office is looking for any tips after multiple motorhomes were set on fire near Beaver Lake. The Sheriff's Office says several RVs were set on fire on Tuesday at a lot near Beaver Shores Road and Highway 12. The Sheriff's Office says anyone with information is urged to contact the detective on the case. The information can be found at our website, 5newsonline.com. Well, this week, the Lavaca Elementary School notified parents of some students about possible exposure after one student was diagnosed with chickenpox. The Arkansas Department of Health confirmed that the school sent this letter on Wednesday, but could not share details about the case. According to a copy of the letter obtained by 5 News, ADH will review exposed students' immunization records. The school nurse will notify parents if a vaccination is needed. The letter also advised parents to watch for symptoms, including a fever and fatigue. We spoke with one doctor who says chickenpox usually presents with a widespread rash, about 10 days after exposure.
It can be itchy, red, these vesicles. In general, we recommend individuals that have chickenpox to see their physician, and they should stay home and separate from others to reduce the spread of illness until all of those lesions have pretty much crusted over.
On January of 26, the U.S. formally reduced the number of vaccines that it recommends for every child. But the chickenpox vaccine was among 11 still recommended by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Well, in Fort Smith, the conversation around a proposal that could change how Fort Smith is run continued in a town hall meeting. We first told you about this proposed change last month, and on Thursday, residents learned more and had the chance to weigh in. Since 1967, Fort Smith has operated under a city administrator system where a hired official handles day-to-day operations rather than the elected mayor. Supporters of the change say that structure is slowing economic growth and making it harder for the city to keep up economically with Northwest Arkansas. For one Fort Smith leader, the reasoning is simple.
Returning to mayor simply because it's a change, it's a change. Maybe we need change.
Supporters are now asking residents to sign a petition to get the issue on the November ballot. About 500 signatures have been collected so far, with around 2,000 needed. And a new candidate has joined the Fort Smith mayor's race. Ward 3 Director Lee Kemp has announced his campaign. He joins fellow Fort Smith board member Christina Katsavis, along the 3 other candidates, Shane McKinney, Sarah Harrison, and Dan Williams. Current Mayor George McGill is not seeking re-election in November.